What's up, my brothers and sisters? You're looking at the distilling villain, the moonshine marauder, the MVP of MHD. This is Boo from Mile Hi Distilling. And today we're going to be ranking some of my favorite stills we're going to have available. Keep in mind, we sell over, I think at this point, 20 different models of stills. That's a lot to choose from. Now, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but I think it needs to be said that once again, I hope you guys understand, I am by no means a salesman. I've lived that life before. I hated it. I quit because I felt guilty. I'm not going to choose the units here just because they look pretty and they cost a bunch of money. The stills I have on my top 5 list have a reason to be there. The units here that I have, we're going to be ranking on functionality, purpose, versatility of that unit. And again, if they end up also being beautiful, then that's just another plus. But let's go through each of these units, kind of describe why these units are so high on my list, why they're near and dear to me, and I'll give you some basic info on those units. We're talking about yield, things like that that could be helpful for you to know as well if you're looking at one of these units yourself. So guys, let's get into it. Number 5 on my list, we're looking at the copper jacketed 26-gallon that we sell. Now, there is a number of things I love about this. The size is, I think, pretty great for a home distiller, as well as like getting into that commercial level, kind of pseudo commercial. We're not talking about anything too big or too crazy, but as far as, especially from a home distiller's perspective, the yield you're getting out of this thing really makes it worthwhile. We're looking at an average yield of about 2.5 gallons of spirit coming out at about 160 proof. So when we dial everything back, dilute with water, make our cuts, put in all that info, we're probably going to end up with, I would say, about 3.5 gallons of spirit at a time. So it's got a decent yield to it. On top of that, man, come on, this thing is beautiful. This is what I'm talking about. It's functional, but it's also just stunningly gorgeous. This is probably my favorite unit to set up and kind of show to people, to kind of show off a little bit on what we've got going on. And back to that functionality, this unit is just going to be phenomenal at carrying over flavor. You've got the copper whiskey helmet on top, which is adding a little bit of passive reflux, so you're cleaning that spirit up a tiny bit, but you're also capturing a lot of those lipids and a lot of those fatty acids and everything else that whiskey is wanting. So it's going to increase your flavor from that whiskey, as well as what this unit has is a recirculatory option. So in the stock unit, you're going to see down below here, you're going to see that basically what's happening is this spirit has the chance to go into a parrot, but then that circulation fitting is actually dropping some of our low wines, our less pure spirit that isn't cleaned up as enough, and it's dropping it back into the boiler. It's going back in there and it's going to reboil. So we're talking about coming out very clean. We're only getting the best of the best available, and we're going to have the flavor, the copper, as well as that helmet, along with it being a pot still. All those things are going to incorporate a ton of our flavor in. It's got great flavor capability. It has a great yield. I think it's a pretty fair yield. It looks gorgeous. Another pro here is that it has that jacketed kettle. So we can actually put fresh fruit or fresh grains directly in that boiler. We run no risk of scorching. So again, that's just going to overall increase our flavor. The condenser size is nice. We're looking at a 3-inch diameter condenser line. It's a heavy sucker. Let me tell you, that condenser weighs more than any other part in this unit aside from maybe the boiler. So it's heavy. It's going to be condensing well. The one thing with this unit that I guess could be a drawback is you're going to have to heat with a heating element and oil. So that oil as a medium, that can be a little bit costly. That does have to be changed out. I think it's a pretty small drawback compared to the positives of this unit. So, even saying this now, maybe it should have been a little higher on my list. We're going to keep it at the number 5 spot. This is the copper jacketed 26-gallon. So all in all with this unit, you're looking at a yield of anywhere from 2.5 gallons at 10% ABV all the way up to about 4.5 gallons at 20% ABV. And we're looking at about 160 proof tops on terms of what this unit can produce. And a full run on this unit, including that heat up time, We have a medium there, so a little bit longer on heat up time. We're probably talking about 8 to 10 hours per run. Number 4 on my list is going to be a sleeper. This is a tower that used to be a lot more popular back in the day. I've seen a pretty steady decline in sales for this unit, and I don't know why. It's not as pretty, I guess, as some of our other units, but in terms of what it can do, its functionality, it is top tier. This is our hybrid 4-in-1 still. By the name alone, you can tell that there's a lot of purpose in this unit. Purpose number 1 is going to be our reflux capabilities on this unit. So we're going to be able to achieve about 180 to 190 proof, maybe even a little bit higher through that reflux mode. It's very straightforward, nothing much to it. It's got a secondary condenser known as a water jacket type condenser. So they're not incredibly powerful, but for a 2-inch diameter that this tower is, it's going to work perfect. Capability number 2 is going to be our pot still mode. So basically anything that would require flavor, you can take out that reflux chamber. It's very modular like that, which is kind of a theme for all our designs. And then you're running in pot still mode for more flavor carryover. The basket on this unit, which we'll talk about next for our next function, you can actually add in fresh fruit or fresh grains directly into that basket and increase that flavor profile coming through to that unit. It basically has a nice built-in flavor infusion basket, and you've got some volume in there. I'd reckon about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds worth of really whatever you want in that basket. Function number 3, which is less interesting to some people, but hear me out here. We have an oil distiller in this unit. I think that's pretty awesome. So if you're interested in creating, different oils, whether to use or sell, you're going to have the capability to do that using that basket that comes with the unit. Again, about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds worth of lavender, rose, whatever you're really thinking there. We're here in Colorado. We're pretty liberal when it comes to cannabis. You can definitely throw a few good nuggies in there and make some Rick Simpson oil, do a few other things with that cannabis. And then, like I said, that basket's also just going to be there for flavor enhancements, whether it's a gin, whether it's a brandy that you want a little more of that fruit flavor over. Maybe you're trying to make a coconut rum, throw some toasted coconut in there. Sky's the limit with it. It's going to have the capability to do quite a lot just by adding that basket. As just a small side note here, please keep in mind, we sell that basket by itself as just an a la carte product on Mile Hi, and that can be incorporated into any of our stills. As long as you have one of our boilers, what you'll do is you'll get that basket. It'll take the place where your lid is currently on your unit, and you can also have that same capability. Just want to bring that up. Now back to it. Function number 4. This one's pretty cool. We also have a filter unit in this unit. So what we'll do there is we're going to flip things upside down on the unit. Then we're going to use that basket. We're going to screw out the screen on that basket. It's going to get that screen nice, wide, and open. And we can dump some stone carbon in there. And now we have a filter unit. So talk about making an incredible vodka out of reflux mode with this unit. Then you just turn your unit upside down, get to filtering it at the same time. So again, I love our Pro models. I love some of the different units we make. I think this one has less flash to it, but in terms of functionality, that to me, this is top tier. Because guess what else we can do? Those of you familiar with our Pro models, you know how we have that sight glass in there, that glass piece that is a gin basket infuser? Well, guess what? This unit you can add one in. I mean, you have the basket, but you can also just add a sight glass, and then you have everything a Pro does plus that basket. So I think just for the dollar value alone, what it can do, it's got to take a place in my heart. It's just a unit I really enjoy that doesn't get enough attention, I think. So we're going to put it number 4 on my list. We're talking about 180 to 190 proof in reflux mode in this unit. We're talking about, I'd say about 140 proof in pot still mode with this unit. We're talking about the capability to make essential oils, maybe about 50 to 100 milliliters per run. And we're talking about filtering as well, which I guess I don't really have any stats on, but you guys get the gist. It usually goes on an 8-gallon boiler, which would yield you anywhere from around 3/4 gallon to 1.5 gallons after everything's said and done. And a full run in this hybrid unit is going to take you about, on average, 6 to 8 hours. Number 3 on my list is going to have to be our flutes. Now, not just any flute. I like a very specific flute. With my flute, I have to have copper with the sections. They're too gorgeous to pass up. I have to have 6-inch diameter just for that tremendous speed we're talking about. We're talking of a yield of around 2 gallons per hour. So just wonderful. And I have to put that on a 53 gallon. I don't know why. I can't do anything smaller. Bigger is all right, but 53, I just think it pairs so well. I don't know what it is. I can't really fully tell you. But this is my preferred flute unit. 6 sections, of course. It's just a perfect blend of monstrosity and beauty. It's big, but it's just great looking. Like I mentioned, those copper sections just look out of this world. I'm so happy with the work we do on those. 6-inch is going to give us a pretty decent output, especially with that 53-gallon boiler we're talking about. It just pairs well. That flute itself is just such an amazing piece of work. We're talking about the purest of the pure. Each time it goes to those sections, we're basically adding another line of reflux. So if we have all 6 of those sections active, we're coming out just smooth like water type spirit. Stuff that you know, as soon as it comes out of the still, it doesn't matter if it's 190 proof, you can sip on it. I mean, that's how powerful this stuff is and smooth this stuff is. So it just takes a lot of the work. You usually don't have to worry about filtering. Obviously you always can, but this still just coming out is going to be nectar of the gods, pretty much the best of the best. And that's what I love so much about the flute. It's going to use high power precision condensers. They're known as deflagmators, and they're known as shotgun condensers. So this 6-inch deflagmator is going to be a beast. It's going to be, like I said, very high precision. Might take a little bit of work to get there and learn how to control it, but once you do, you're going to be able to do anything you want at any proof you want effectively. We pair that with a 2.5-inch shotgun condenser, a big one. So we're going to have like 40 inches worth of jacket space in that condenser line. So it's going to keep everything sufficiently cool. On top of that, the flute has an added benefit of having a parrot in line. That's going to give us real-time proof readings. And that, to me, is one of the qualities of life of distilling. It just makes everything simpler. Sure, you can easily take that spirit, pour it into a jar, and take a reading there. No, nothing big on that. But having that parrot in line to just take that work out of it, I don't know. Over time, over an 8-hour period, begins to, help things. It just has a lot of function to it. And on top of that, the add-ons that come with the flute, you can build this thing up as much as you want. Put 12 sections on there, double those number of sections. Put a gin basket on there, put a helmet on there, put another extension on there, put 2 gin baskets on there. The sky is the limit, almost literally. And I just think as far as the craft goes, you can continue to grow and build with this unit as much as you need to dial in the perfect process. I also love that with these flutes, we have so many different variations of it that you can choose from. So we let you choose a number of sections. What we offer stock is 4 or 6. It's really up to you. Each section is going to help you maintain an azeotropic, which is basically 190 proof level of spirit. The choice is yours, and we see people, add some in. We have custom orders that only want 2 or 3 of them. They want like a pot still type version. So you can really pick and choose what you get there. You can pick and choose your material from stainless to copper. You can pick and choose the type of plates you use, whether it's perforated downcomer plates or bubble plates. And you also get to pick your diameter, 4-inch, 6-inch. We also offer these in 3-inch and 8-inch as well. You can just really pick the model that is going to suit you the best as you continue to grow. One more point with these, they are amazing pilot stills. If you're interested in starting the distillery, you always want your pilot still to closely resemble your production still as possible. So you can learn how to distill on a 16, 26-gallon flute, a small boy. And once you learn that process, you learn how to use the unit, you go into production, you can get a 300-gallon flute. And you don't have to change. You already know the process. You know how to run that unit. So it just carries you a long way. It's great for hobbyists and commercial applications alike. And again, for that reason, we're going to fit it right in the middle. That is going to be number 3 on my list, the flute still. We offer this in a lot of variations, remember, but in this specific unit, the 53-gallon boiler with that 6-inch head, we're looking at a total yield of anywhere from 5 to 10 gallons worth of spirit at a time. After we make our cuts and everything, it's probably closer to about 7 to 12 or so. that flute still is going to produce 185 to 190 plus proof in reflux mode. You can take out the plates, take out the deflagrator, and run it in pot still mode. And there we're talking about, I'd say about 150 to 160. With this model, with this 6-inch head, we're looking at a full runtime of only about 5 to 6 hours. So it's fast at what it does. Number 2 on my list, I gotta give it to the Thumper, man. These Thumpers are so widely regarded, and I can see why. I would say top bar in terms of flavor output. How Thumpers work, for those not in the know, is what you'll have is your main boiler, and as we heat that main boiler up, it's going to push our vapor through what's called our traditional head and then into our Thumper. And it gets its name because it thumps as that happens. What it's doing when it hits that second boiler is it's basically repurifying everything and adding basically a second boil point. And because it's such a short path and there's no amount of reflux in there, you're not losing any flavor as you clean the spirit up, which is usually how it works. It's usually you choose between cleaning up your spirit or gaining more flavor. So this does the best of both worlds. Now I will say it's not as versatile as some of the other ones on this list. This is strictly a pot still, so it's going to be absolutely awesome for brandies, tequilas, whiskeys, rums, things like that. As far as gin goes, it's going to do that less effectively as it would in a reflux still, and vodka, again, less effectively. But, you know, no one's really putting a neutral spirit in a Thumper anyway. They are fully for flavor, and once more, without repeating myself too much, they are perfect for that. That Thumper is also going to allow us to, again, put fresh fruit or fresh grain or really whatever we want in there, some flavoring agent, directly in line. So we're going to be able to increase that flavor capability even more. We had a rum here that we actually distilled through a pot still, regular pot still, and then through another batch of that same rum in through a Thumper. And the difference there was not just marginal, it was very noticeable. It came out smoother and more flavor. So I love what they do in that regard. I also love how they look, and I love how you can take it so many different ways. You're going to see all different types of designs for these Thumpers. They even make like mason jar Thumpers that you can throw in line and just get, you know, a tiny 16-ounce mason jar worth of fruit. You might see some Thumpers that go from a main boiler to a Thumper to a worm. You can just take this design many different ways. There are people building Thumpers as well, so they're a nice little home project that increases their accessibility to people. We do lose a couple points in versatility by this not having reflux capability like some of the others on this list, but one thing that's awesome about our Thumpers is the fact that you can remove that Thumper stem and then it becomes a standalone pot still. What you can do is grab yourself a reflux tower, and then you already have the 2 boilers with the Thumper setup. You'll just have that standalone traditional pot still tower from removing that stem on one of the boilers, get another reflux tower, put it on the other, and then you have all the capabilities. You can do all the spirits and you know, run 2 stills at once. So it's still got some points there for versatility. Beautiful design, bar none for flavor, and that is why it's so high on this list. This is number 2. We do offer this design in a few different volumes, but the one that I'd recommend to most people is the 26 to 8 gallon Thumper. That again is going to net us that really nice yield. We're looking at an overall yield of about 3.5 to 5.5 gallons, I'd say, after everything's said and done. We're going to be coming out as pretty much as pure as we can get through a pot still type unit. So we're looking at 160. I've heard reports of 165, which is pretty impressive for no reflux chamber. Now, that specific 26 to 8 gallon Thumper, it's a little on the slower side. With heat up time, we have that medium in there. We have to heat up not 1, but 2 boilers. So all in all, I mean, we'd probably be looking about a 12-hour run on this 26 to 8 gallon version. But we do offer this version in a 16 to 8, an 8 to 3, a few other model sizes that are going to be a little faster. We're probably looking at around 8 or so hours for full runtime on those units. So keep that in mind. Now, we've come down to it, folks. Drum roll, please. Brrr, brrr, brrr. It is my baby boy, my all reliable the one that you see me running every video where I'm running. My beautiful, my versatile, my shiny little baby boy. We're talking about the 8-gallon with 3-inch Torpedo Pro. Now I know what you're thinking. We had hybrid number 4 on this list, and I mentioned that the hybrid can do everything the Pro can and a little bit more because of that basket. So why? Why is it number 1? Well, the Torpedo Pro specifically is what we're choosing. That has a 3-inch diameter. So that's what really it comes down to. That 2-inch diameter on the hybrid is going to output around 1 quart per hour. I'm at 2 quarts per hour with that 3-inch. So we're talking fast runs. And I can still put a basket on that Pro. We also make a 2-gallon basket with a 3-inch top. So I can still get the capability of that hybrid. I'm at double the speed per hour. And the Torpedo also uses a cold finger condenser, which is just a little bit more of a precise condenser, I'd say. As far as its structure goes and its engineering goes, I just think it's made up of a little bit better design for faster run times, a little more effective on the condensing end. And then, like I said, I can add in that basket at any point. So it's not really losing points away from the hybrid. It's completely modular, the same. It's got that really nice modular swivel condenser arm, which lets me kind of pick and choose what angle I want my condenser at. There's just a lot to this unit that I think it deserves that place. One thing that the Torpedo can do that we don't offer in the hybrid is that the Torpedo, we can choose whether we want it in stainless or copper material. We offer in both. The hybrid is just in a stainless variation. So that helps a little bit increase its versatility to me. Lets you kind of pick and choose what you want. So with the ability to choose what material you want out of this unit, one thing that I also love about this unit that once more the hybrid can't do is with that 3-inch diameter, that's going to allow us to choose to upgrade our boiler size if we want it. So we're starting on an 8-gallon boiler, but with that 3-inch diameter, we can move up to a 16-gallon boiler, and even if you really wanted a 26-gallon boiler without sacrificing too much. Obviously our times increase, but quality stays the same. It's going to allow us to do that bigger batch size. So it's got that going for it, that 2-inch diameter hybrid. It's not going to cut it past an 8-gallon. It's just too slow in all other variations. It's very prompt speed in distilling. The versatility of the spirits that you can make with this unit, everything you can think of can be made through this unit, all that combined. And yes, a little bit of that sentimental value. We're looking at number 1, the Torpedo Pro on an 8-gallon system. This model is capable of 180 to 190 proof in reflux mode, and we're looking about 140 in pot still mode. Our yield on this 8-gallon boiler is going to be 3/4 of a gallon to about 1.5 gallons of spirit per run, and we can bump that up to a 16-gallon version very easily, and our yield is looking at 1.5 to 3 gallons of spirit per run with that sort of setup. Our run times are looking at a very speedy 4 hours with an 8-gallon boiler and a pretty decent 8 hours with a 16-gallon boiler. So I think it's a great model to start with, and then if you want to upgrade to that bigger boiler later on, you can do so comfortably. So everyone, there you go. That's the way you have it. That's the way I see things. I love all our models here. They all have little perks here and there. I have a fair bit of experience with all our models here. I've ran almost every one. So these are sort of the ones that have caught my eye a little more than others. If you enjoyed this video and want to enjoy more of our distilling content, go ahead and go down below, subscribe to our channel, like this video as well. Keep your notifications on so you'll continue to get our video uploads. Be sure to also look farther down in the description. You're going to see our TikTok, our Insta there, our Facebook. Go ahead and follow those, join all that, and we post different content throughout all those. I do want to remind you before it gets too late, seats are filling up fast for our open house with Downslope Distilling, July 20th in Centennial, Colorado at Downslope Distilling site. We have about half the tickets sold now. It's a free event. So go ahead if you haven't already. Even if it's a maybe from you, go ahead and RSVP. It's all free. And we hope to see you down there. Everyone, I really want to take a second to thank you as well. All the support we've gotten on this channel, all the positive feedback, all the people reaching out to us either through telephone, email, through our social media. I mean, you guys are a blast. I love hearing that, you like our videos and our other content. I love talking to you guys. So thank you so much for being a part of Mile Hi Distilling. We appreciate everyone, customers, supporters, watchers, whatever you are, whatever relationship we have. Thank you from the bottom of my heart so much. And guys, I will see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.